Hey guys, I just wanted to make this video to show you and explain a couple of things about these new reservoirs that are gonna be for sale. To keep this video kind of small, I'm gonna split it into two sides. This is gonna be side A and this is gonna be side B. These new reservoirs are all gonna be machine finish, meaning that the inside part of the reservoir is no longer gonna be hand polished as some of my other reservoirs. It's gonna have a frosted look to it at the beginning, but once we fill it with water, we're gonna be able to see a little more see-through. It's gonna come in a D5 pump and DDC pump version. The DDC pump is actually 3 inches wide and the D5 is 3.5 inches wide. The height is 360 millimeters, and probably soon after I release the video, or maybe a couple days later, I'm gonna try to release another version. It's gonna be the 240 height. The main difference will be these have 3 lines right here in the middle. The 240 probably will only have 2 to disrupt some of the flow. The edges are gonna be hand polished and are gonna be see-through, just not the inside part. Here I have the DDC reservoir, and it's gonna come with 4 brackets. I'm still trying to decide if use these brackets or maybe provide like a standoff, but at the moment these are the brackets that are gonna be provided. It's gonna have 4 screws for the brackets. The way you mount it is you put the screw this way, and on each corner of the reservoir there is a threaded hole. It can be mounted either on the back side or on the front side. The only thing to look for is that these screws right here are 832 1 inch long, and the screw right here provided for the pump. They look very similar, but they're not the same. One is actually an M4 and the other one 832. The screw provided for the pump is just in case you have a DDC cover just like this one, since it comes with these screws. That way you can still use this type of cover if you want to be able to secure it to the reservoir. If not, you can use the screws provided with the heatsink that are M4 screws. It actually has 4 G1/4 holes, 3 on the inlet side and 1 outlet. That means you can connect the outlet and maybe provide this one as an inlet, or this one as a drain. Let's call this one as an inlet and this one as a fill port. You can mount the reservoir this way. You can mount it the other way like this. You can mount it like this if you want it. The only thing is that you have to really make sure that the fluid level it's all the way at the top. You don't want it to be really close to the pump and the pump sucking air. That will cause noise that will probably ruin your pump in the long term. You can mount it on those directions. The only thing that you cannot do will be mounted like this with the pump at the top. That almost for sure will suck air into the pump, will trap it there, and it will probably damage your pump. As for the D5 pump, it will have the same 4 brackets. Maybe, like I said, maybe I'll change it to a standoffs or something else. 4 screws for the brackets, a bracket for the pump, an O-ring, and the screws needed to secure the pump. One thing I want to show you right now is that I had very few people get the bracket and leave the O-ring in the backside and then put the pump and the O-ring stays in the backside. That's actually gonna cause a leak, and that's not good. So what you need to do is put the bracket through the pump and then the O-ring right here in the front side. That way, when you secure the bracket to the reservoir, the seal will keep, you know, all the water inside and not cause a leak. You will have the same type of thread as the bracket screw, but the difference is that one is 1 inch and the other one is 3/4. Be sure to use the smallest one for the pump bracket, since I had one person actually tried to put the long one into the longer screw into the bracket, and what happens is that this screw is actually gonna bottom out. It's gonna bottom out before you can actually make this bracket tight, and once it reaches the limit, and if you keep try to making it tight, what's gonna cause is it's either a crack or you can actually just break the whole reservoir. So don't confuse the longer screws for the brackets and the screws for the pump. Here I forgot to mention this. Here I have a bracket that you can find on a lot of places online. If you mount it to the DDC pump, you can mount the whole reservoir to 120 millimeter fan space if you wanted it to mount it this way. It's just another option. Here I have the 140, which will be the same. The only thing is that it will have to be a little higher up, just so that the screws can match to the bracket. I had a few people ask me what's the difference between, let's say here I have a 655 pump and a D5 pump. They're actually all the same. There is no a difference between these two pumps. One of the difference that you might find in the pumps will be these are actually speed control barrier, while some are PWM that you can control through the computer. So that's the main difference, but a D5 pump and a 655 are all the same. When it comes to D5 DDC pumps, I haven't really experienced with that many of them, so but my believing, I think they're all almost exactly the same. Maybe some of the differences that I've seen is that some say 300 liters a minute or an hour they can run, some like around 450. I seen 600, and I think I saw one saying 900 liters maybe a minute. So that might be the main difference, but as when it comes to the impeller side, I think they're all the same. Maybe someone can leave me a comment saying if there is actually a difference between DDC pumps, but here I just have the regular DDC pump 1 plus. I'm not sure what that means, but this is just a regular lane DDC pump that I have right here with a Ocool heatsink. So now I'm just gonna fill the reservoirs so we can see how they look and how they perform. Here I have both D5 pump and DDC pump with two different type of liquids. This is pastel color, and this is just regular distilled water. But with the distilled water, we can see how see-through it actually becomes versus the, let's say, the without water, the machine finish. So I'm just gonna leave this one right here on the back. Of course, with the pastel colors, you can see nothing except right through the little lines, but here's how the D5 actually works on this reservoir. Of course, we just have a really quick connection from the outlet to the inlet. Once you have it run through the whole setup, the flow will probably minimize a little bit. Let's see. I know maybe the microphone might not pick it up, but that's actually the reservoir at full speed. Yeah, that 5, so that will be full speed. Let me take the microphone and maybe we can pick up some noise, but it's really quiet. I mean, we can barely see a little flow from when it goes up, but then it gets back into the pump. So that's the D5 pump. And I believe, let's say, some of that noise comes from the actual pump. And now let's say how the reservoir flows the water. Now I'm gonna turn it off. Now I'm gonna try to connect the DDC pump. Okay, so here's the DDC pump. The outlet is actually right here at the top. It's coming all the way down, and it goes back into the pump, and it comes. If we can compare it, the DDC pump, it's a little louder than the D5 pump. I'm gonna just put the microphone a little closer. But some of it, it's a little bubbles of air that's coming in into the pump, and like I said, that could cause a little more noise to it. Once you bleed all the air out of the lines, there shouldn't be that much noise, let's say. But yes, the DDC pump, I believe it's running at full speed, since it's actually just connected 12 volts, so they know, let's say, PWM or some type of signal to lower the speed or control the speed right now. So that's how it actually sounds, and that's how it actually looks.